Yes. Nothing like having a legend on stage. Thank you so much for joining us here for All Access Pass. I am still your cruise host, Jason, though just half of him now, doing my best vocally to do another wonderful, wonderful interview. I'm so glad to have you with us, whether you are watching back in your rooms or you're right here in the live audience. I am joined by one of the best to ever do it, and I know the amount of noise you're going to make for him right now is going to represent how we feel about him. One more time, Mr. John Lodge. So it's clear that your fans don't like you. What is it like? We were just chatting a little bit backstage, and I've been fortunate enough to sit with you a couple of times. You are still, and I say still, and I don't mean that to sound rude, you acknowledge, love, and are all about your fans. What is it like to walk out and have that kind of response from folks who took time out of the middle of their port day to come back and make sure they were here to listen to us banter on?
It's belittling. It really is. And, particularly during the last 18 months, I've been plagued with ill health.
Yes, sir.
I had a stroke, but actually with prayers from family and the fans,
Yes, sir.
it's brought me back here. And I want to thank you.
Are you okay if I ask you a question or two about your health?
Yeah, of course.
How are you feeling today, first and foremost?
Oh, scared stiff.
That makes sense.
Put a guitar in front of me, I know
Yeah,
what
right.
I'm doing, you know.
When the stroke happened, obviously we were all very concerned for you, and everyone was terrified for you. We weren't there. We don't know the severity or whatnot. But of course, immediately when you hear that news about an idol, about someone we love the way we love you, we're scared in that moment. How did it feel for you as you came out the other side and you started rehabbing and coming back? Could you tell us a little bit about the process?
Really long process. It was Christmas Eve, can you believe? And I was looking forward to Christmas. My wife is from Denmark, and Danish people, Scandinavian, always celebrate Christmas Eve. We dance around the Christmas tree and wish everyone, obviously, happy Christmas. And we bought the Christmas tree and didn't see it again, actually. And so Christmas Eve, I was rushed into hospital. I was in Barbados, by the way. Great holiday.
Saw a lot of that hospital room.
Yeah. The hotel wasn't very good either.
Well,
these people came in all the while giving me drips and everything else. I thought, that's great room service.
you can eat through a bag at that point. Yeah.
And about 4 weeks later, I was... my son, Christian, came over to Barbados with Emily, my daughter. You all know Emily. And I went to America to stay. And it was great fun, actually, having a wheelchair. You rush through all the crowds.
Yeah, no hold up for you.
I'm thinking...
Small benefits.
I'm thinking about keeping a wheelchair with you all.
Just to get around in.
Yes.
Expedite
really,
your way.
Really good. Everybody says, oh, I'm terribly sorry. But...
You're like, so am I. Could you hurry up, please? Could we get... Well, I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here when I say congratulations. We are so, so blessed and lucky and fortunate and happy to have you back and performing and with us.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
my
you.
gosh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So if you don't mind, let's go back in the day a little bit before we come to the current where we start asking some questions from the fans. If we could go back a few years, you joined the Moody Blues in 1966. Is that correct?
Yeah, June 66.
June 66. And you and Justin joined at the same time.
Yeah, exactly the same time.
Exactly the same time. Tell us a little bit about the call you get, because if I'm not mistaken, you were actually asked to join earlier. I mean, obviously the Moody Blues really became, in my opinion, I'm sorry to everybody, the Moody Blues became the Moody Blues when you and Justin joined, for me, in a lot of ways. So I don't want to, I'm not taking away. I know we got some originals, some purists. I'm not taking away from them. But when you guys joined, that to me is what I identify as the sound of the Moody Blues. But you got an earlier call, did you not, to join?
Yeah, Ray Thomas and I met Ray Thomas when I was 15, and he was 2 years older than me, 17. And we formed a band, and we were with...
Was that El Riot and the Rebels?
El Riot and the Rebels.
That's a good name, isn't it? That's a good name. El Riot and the Rebels.
You should have seen the sombreros. They were...
The sombreros.
I say on stage, finding a sombrero in Birmingham, England in the 60s was impossible, but we did. We had them made.
Forgive my interruption. Continue, sir.
Yeah, and so we had a band for 4 years, and in Birmingham in those days, everywhere you performed were in public houses. You don't have them in America, but anybody from the Great Britain knows what I'm on about. And the Birmingham had two breweries. One was called Ansell's Brewery, and another one was called Mitchell's and Bottlers. And Mitchell's and Bottlers decided they wanted to have a band of their own playing in their own pubs. And they decided they'd like to build a super group, you know. And it was Mike Pinder, Denny Lane, Graham Edge, of course, and Ray Thomas. And Ray said to me, "Come on, rocker, you've got to join," you know. I said, well, I'm still at college. I've still got 2 years to go at college.
And you were doing mechanical engineering, is that correct?
I was doing mechanical engineering. I was still playing of a night time, and I said, no, I'm going to finish my college. And they went down to London and, of course, recorded the Bessie Banks song, Go Now, fabulous song, and a fabulous record.
Very much so,
It really was fantastic. And I was so proud, you know, because everybody I knew. And then about 18 months later, I got a call from Ray. He said, "Hey, rocker, have you finished college yet?"
Get on with it.
I said, "Yes, I've finished." He said, "Get down to London." And I went down to London, and that was it.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And that was in 66. And then 6 minutes later, in 1967, we get Days of Future Past, which a lot of folks identify as their favorite album of all time from the Moody Blues. I know there's some other folks, like obviously there's other albums out there, but a lot of people identify that as one of their favorites. How did that come together so quickly? Tell us a little bit about the process of you and Justin joining, and all of a sudden you put out this absolutely unparalleled piece of work that is Days of Future Past.
I met Justin in the summer, and I was speaking to Mike Pinder, and I said, "What do you want to do?" And he said, "We want to record and write our own songs." And I said, "That's exactly what I want to do." And I know Justin wants to do exactly the same thing. And so we set about, we went to a little village in Moucron on the French-Belgian border. And we said, at this little bed and breakfast place, and with a really old Belgian lady looking after us, looking after her little boys. And every night, she used to make special soup for us. And croquette potatoes. I never heard what they were, you know. But, and we were on the French border, and we were rehearsing every day new songs, writing new songs for a stage show. And it was great, actually, because we were right on the border of France, and Paris was not too far away. I've got to be quiet. My wife's in the room. But we right on and we had the key to the customs post. And the customs guys gave us the key. We used to go to Paris, come back at 4 in the morning, unlock the gates, lift the bar up, drive in, lock it back. And that's... Yeah,
the good old days.
Yeah, the good old days.
And now you got to take your shoes off at the airport.
Yeah. But while we were there, we wrote about 45 minutes of music. And when the call came to make Days of Future Past, they wanted to make it as a Dvorak's New World Symphony. And they wanted us to take the melodies for Dvorak, put lyrics to it, and make an album like that. But our orchestra leader, Peter Knight, came to see us one night and said, you know, you should play your own songs. You know, forget about what Decca want. And that's what we decided to do. And we took basically a stage show and turned it into Days of Future Past.
I mean, how many of you remember and listening, and not just the other night, but when the album came out, how many of you remember the experience of Days of Future Past? Because it really was an experience. It was an experience. We weren't, and I don't want to. When I say we, by the way, I don't know if you heard my stage introduction. I know I'm younger, but I really did grow up on your music. So I grew up hearing it for the first time, thinking it was new, because it was new for me. I was blown away by the way it was composed, the way it was built, the lyricism, not just the lyrics as well, obviously, but the musicality of the album. That was really, you guys just wanted to go your own way, and that's what you wanted, was what you got.
Yeah, we said to the record company, we had a great guy called, who was chairman of Decca Records, a real music man, real music man. He actually set up the Decca Record Company in the USA as well. And he adopted us as his boys, really did. And we asked him if he could have, in those days, you went to the studio from 10 till 1, 2 till 5 and 6 till 10, 3 sessions a day. And he asked, could we have the studio 24 hours a day? And nobody else allowed in. And he said yes, and we couldn't believe it. And it meant we could be in the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning recording.
Sure.
We took camp beds in there. And it was a great way. We used to play soccer in there as well, actually.
They wanted it for 24 hours. They did music for 2 and then horsed around for 22 of it, it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time, yeah.
And how did you come up with the name of the album?
The name, actually, Decca actually came up with the name.
Got it.
They came up with the name, and it took us some time to work out what it meant.
Fair enough, yeah.
But it's strange, when I started rehearsing for the stage show, I went back. I never listened. Once we recorded an album, once I've listened to the master, and once I've listened to the first record, I don't play them again. I really don't listen to the records again. And so I don't think I'd really listened to Days of Future Past for 40-odd years.
Wow.
And when I played it back, I suddenly realized, oh, that's my life there.
That's quite good.
And I thought, that's got to be the total name of the album for me now, My Sojourn. Because there was my life encapsulated in an album we made in '68. And it was an awakening for me.
Sure.
And I suddenly realized what Days of Future Past meant.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It comes full circle at some point. Yeah, well said. So let's flash forward some 50 years later. You're on the Rock and Romance cruise and you play the album live for everybody. What made you decide to split your show like that and do the Moody Blues hits and then do Days of Future Past live like that?
It was, I wanted to keep the Moody Blues music alive. That's all it's about. You know, I go into the studio and record my own songs as well. But for me, it's the Moody Blues is such an integral part of my life, and I think
all of our lives. Let's be very honest. Yeah, it's beyond.
And I think it's a shame to deny the music that people can listen to today. So Emily said, "Come on, Dad, you can do this live." And so I spoke with Alan Hewitt, my musical director. Everyone knows Alan, I hope. And I said, "Come on, Alan, we could do this, can't we?" But there's one trick. I thought, there's one thing that's going to make this really work, and I know what it is. I went to see Graham Edge, and I said to Graham, I'd like you to go in the studio and record your poetry, because it's a rock and roll classic, and you didn't record the original. And if you go in and record your poetry, breathe deep the gathering gloom. I said, if you record your poetry, I'll film you, and you always have a place on stage with me. And he said,
"Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful."
And he said, "John, just keep the Moody Blues music alive." That's what he said.
And here we are.
That was it. And I thought, I'm away now. And the rehearsal went, we rehearsed for about a year to get the right approach to the album live.
You want to do it right. You don't want to do it halfway.
Because, you know, everybody else in the band sings, and everybody sung on the album. So when I was singing a Ray song or Mike's song, I tried to get my head into them then at that time.
How scary was that?
It was really, but it's strange when I seen their faces came straight in my...
Oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful.
And I thought, yeah, we're going to do... And I remember getting in touch with Mike Pinder's wife and said, I hope he likes the album and what I've done for the Dawn of His Feeling and, of course, Sunset.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous to hear.
I was really pleased, and the reaction from everybody has been phenomenal, and thank you for that. Thank you.
Yes, it was wonderful. If you were in the John Lodge show, as if any of you weren't, they heard me out front. I don't know if you heard me out back, but when I introduced the show, I did say in the middle, I was like, so we're going to split the show, and I explained how the show was going to work. And when I said the first half is the Moody Blues classics, it's all your favorites. The second half, what's everyone's favorite album? And I got a couple albums yet out, but by and large, it was Days of Future Past. And I said, well, good, because tonight, you know, John and the guys and gals are going to play for you that album in its entirety. And people went crazy out there the minute I said it. So I hope that's the response you were hoping for.
Fantastic.
Right.
Fantastic. Just one thing I just wanted to say as well. When I was looking at Days of Future Past, I was on another cruise a few years ago. I won't mention which one.
We wouldn't deign to do that.
And I was asked to join Yes on stage to sing Imagine, because it was a song that the drummer in the Yes played on with John Lennon. So I joined John Davison on stage singing Imagine. And after that, I said to John, I'm singing this song with you. You come and sing Ride My Seesaw with me. And so John joined me on stage for Ride My Seesaw. And when I was looking at Days of Future Past, how we could make it complete work, I knew I wasn't going to sing Nights in One Satin because the bass part is pretty intricate, and also Tuesday afternoon. And it was John, he's going to sing in. So John Davison joined me on the album and on the stage, and he's fabulous. He's here tonight somewhere.
John. We know he's over there. As you know, sir, you and I could continue on, and I do have a couple more things I want to talk about. I know you have some new music, and I also want to talk about your charity, because you do some absolutely fantastic philanthropic work. But before we get into that, as you know, I like to open it up to the audience, and they get to write some questions for us. So, and as you know, well, that's why I don't let them ask them live on microphone anymore, is for that reason. Jim comes to us from Tallahassee, Florida. Which bass player in your childhood influenced your playing?
You know, when I started bass in Birmingham, there was no basses to be had.
Because you were guitar first, correct?
I didn't know what a bass guitar was. All I knew was I used to listen to Rock Roller Jukebox at a cafe where my school was. And I used to listen to the left-hand side of the rock and roll pianos by people like Little Richard, Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis. And I realized I loved the pounding bass part coming out the 12-inch speaker on the jukebox. And that captivated me. So I started to learn all the bass parts on the bottom 4 strings on the guitar. Bass guitars just did not exist. And I went to see Jerry Lee Lewis on his tour of England, which he didn't do because personal problems.
It's a polite way of putting it.
Yeah. And but on there was a band called the Treniers. And I was looking at this band, and there's a guy on the back of the band, and he was playing, looked like a Buddy Holly guitar. And he wasn't a guitar. I realized he got 4 strings. And I realized that's the first bass, electric bass, I'd ever seen. And I thought, I've got to get one of those somehow. And got to long story short, I was at my musical shop one Saturday morning where all budding musicians used to go, and I'm still sure that people still go to the music store every Saturday, play their guitars or whatever. And there in the window it said, "Direct from the USA, a Fender Precision Sunburst bass." And there were,
You were 16, correct? About 16 at the time?
16. And I looked, Dad.
Please, Dad.
So I jumped on the bus, went straight back home, and I said, "Dad, you've got it. I'll pay you back, honestly." And
Honestly.
and he came with me, and we bought that bass there and then. I've still got the piece of paper because we didn't have the money to buy it. It was a lot of money, actually. But I still got, and I have to tell you, that bass became part of me, and it's recorded nearly every Moody Blues song ever I've recorded on
The bass he got when he was 16 is the one featured on all the Moody Blues albums. What a wonderful connection. That's very unique. You still have it, I hope.
Oh, the new album?
Yes, the new album.
Called Love Conquers All.
Love Conquers All.
It's my new bass. My new bass. I call it new bass because every time I take it out of the case, it still smells like it did when I was 15. Really, honestly, there's a beautiful. Ooh.
That's got to be immediate nostalgia too.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
to take you back
fantastic.
to
Yeah.
16. What a great opportunity that is to be able to just and go
It
right
is.
back.
And actually, when you start playing it, it seems to play on its own.
At this point, I would hope so. It's got a lot of miles on it. Carrie Kaufman comes to us from South Carolina. Uh-oh, gonna have to pay him more. When did John Davidson join the band, and is there an opportunity to maybe let him sing more? We love him. We want more John Davidson.
Yeah. Next tour. Always a next tour, hopefully.
Tyne comes to us from Maine. We noticed that your band members are from different parts of different countries, all over the world in some cases. Logistically, how do you prepare to go on tour and or rehearse with everyone potentially so far apart? Great question.
I discuss everything with Alan Hewitt. We decide what songs we want to rehearse for a tour, and I send the original songs to everyone individually, and everybody just rehearses on their own, and we come together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Sure.
It all fits together, and hopefully there's no pieces missing.
You don't want to miss that corner piece.
Yeah.
That is a testament, though, to your band. That's a testament to the musicians that you have cultivated and put together, that you can, and I don't want this to sound rude because you have a monster group of musicians, but in your case, you have to be able to trust every individual musician to not only rehearse it, but to do it right so it can come together like a puzzle. Yeah. So you've put together a wonderful group of musicians.
They actually love the music, and it's wonderful when I get to a venue, a concert, and during the afternoon before a sound check, I can hear Jason on cello playing and playing and playing and playing, and Duffy playing and playing and playing. It's wonderful because I know that we're going to be pitch perfect for the concert, and they want it to be just as good as I do for the concert because they're real musicians and they want the audience to realize, hey, this is really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you still employ the same creative process as you always have? Because I know you still write. I know you still obviously create. Is it the same as it used to be, or has your process changed over the years?
It's the same. I play my guitar every day. I fiddle on piano every day. I just love music. I just love it, you know. Before I was 13, I didn't know music. I didn't realize music. And
well, you were into cars. You were a car guy, right?
I was a car guy.
You were a car guy, yeah.
And but when rock and roll hit, it hit me like a sledgehammer, bang. And he was like, I've got to be part of this. And it was just, and it was like a catch-up. And I remember thinking, how can I do this? I can't be an icon like Little Richard or Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis, or Jim Vincent. How do you do this? And then, of course, Buddy Holly came along. And when I started to hear Buddy Holly's records, I thought, that's how you do. You write your own songs and play them. Just that. All you've got to do, write your own songs and play them. And
that's it. It's just that easy.
It's it.
Just write your own songs and play them, and you'll be the Moody Blues. That's how it works. It's just that simple, apparently.
And I was really fortunate because my sister, who is 4 years older than me, had a boyfriend who was trying to impress her. So Buddy Holly is coming to Birmingham, and I got home from school one day, and he said, John, here's your ticket.
Oh.
And he bought me a ticket to see Buddy Holly and the Crickets at Birmingham Town Hall. And
wow.
I went to see Buddy Holly. It was amazing because there was a guy, guitar, an amplifier, a double bass player, and a drummer. And that was Buddy Holly in the Crickets. And just lived with me. I bought a program that night, which I've still got.
How cool.
And actual fact, I don't know whether I should say this, but I will. In London, in April the 2nd, there's a book coming out called Words of Love. It's about Buddy Holly. And I was presented with a Buddy Holly guitar.
Oh, wow.
Which I'll play on the video for Love Will Conquer All.
Love conquers all.
And so there's a book coming out. In the book, there's a copy of my program.
Is there really?
From that day. So it's very special to me.
That's
very
amazing.
Special.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that story. Absolutely. Valerie comes to us from, looks like maybe Rhode Island. Is that right? All right, yep. Is it hard being on the road so much and not being at home as much as I'm sure you would like to be?
It's difficult. Of course it is. But over the years, I've tried to balance touring and being at home. And I think the song Gemini Dream is about that, trying to get the balance right. And I'm fortunate now because, you know, home is where the heart is. If you can take your heart with you,
exactly,
it's really good. Exactly. And I'm really fortunate because Emily married John Davison. Emily is my manager. So that's my daughter coming with me. And of course, my wife, she's here somewhere.
She's hiding in the corner. She said she's heard enough. She doesn't have to see us. She's fine. She's fine.
She travels with me. So the heart is always coming with me wherever I go. And that will do me. That'll do me.
That's extremely well said. My wife and I say that all the time. Exactly. Exactly. My wife and I have that exact conversation because at one point she asked me, she said, I don't know that I contribute to anything while you're traveling. Are you sure you want me to go? I said, you don't understand. You are my home. When I go back to the room, and I'm assuming I'm speaking to you in this, when you go back to the hotel room or back to the cabin, having your home there makes all the difference in the world. It allows you to settle. It allows your brain to settle, your heart to settle. And it's really, truly one of the greatest things. I'm glad you have that. That's wonderful. That is wonderful.
I've got to tell you something.
Please.
During COVID...
Must we go back there? Oh, my goodness.
We do. During COVID, I wrote a song called In These Crazy Times. And I recorded it on GarageBand in my condo in Naples, completely. My son played guitar on there. And I wanted some backing vocals. And my wife always sings along, not my songs.
Well, she has taste. I mean, how dare she? Wouldn't dare.
Yeah, but she's always in tune. And I thought, I know, I'm going to ask her to sing on this song. So I set up...
On GarageBand.
Yeah, in the garage. So I'll set up the microphone inside the wardrobe of the bedroom.
Good acoustics, yeah.
And I said to Barbara, come here. I want you to sing this. And I sang it to her. I said, but you have to stand in the wardrobe. And she said, I'm going to wear these things on my head, you know, headphones. Oh, yeah, of course you. So she went in there, and actually, after 2 takes, she got it exactly right. I couldn't believe it.
She said, how hard is this rock star stuff?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what you've been fussing about for all these years. 2 takes and I'm out of here. What's going on?
She said, it's easy.
How long did it take you for that last album? I did this in 2 takes, in a wardrobe, matter of fact. That's wonderful.
What were you doing in the studio for 3 months at a time?
In the studio, quotation marks now. Yeah, you could let the cat out of the bag is what you did. Ginny comes to us from Albany, New York. A very specific question from Ginny. Did you ever have any scares throughout the years while playing live, maybe even in thunderstorms?
Yeah, tornadoes.
It's a good story.
We're in Memphis, one concert, and our road manager, a guy called Mike Keys, who was with me for 30 years, he was tracking the tornadoes coming on his phone.
On his phone.
And he said, John, listen, the contract says if he can play 3 songs, we've made the contract work.
Quick.
He said, we'll go on 15 minutes earlier because the tornado's going to come in 30 minutes' time.
Pick 3 short ones and let's go. Yeah.
So we warned everyone. We went on the stage and waffled. And the tornado came along. It was quite scary, actually. But we made people happy, I think, because we did play 3 songs, that's all. But Isle of Wight in 1970 was a thunderstorm. And the big problem is, in the early days of rock and roll, was getting electrocuted from the microphone. And we were all scared stiff because actually I think I have been electrocuted.
I've been zapped.
And it's really scary.
It makes you jump. It catches you off guard. You certainly aren't expecting that one.
And if you're holding on, you got guitar strings as well.
You're just a conductor at that point.
It's like you look like a cartoon cat.
Just all hair at the end of that one. Yeah.
And we had to put rubber mats down
to ground, right?
Stand, but that's scary. But
yeah, slightly, I would imagine. Tom from Connecticut. Tom, right there. We already answered the first part. Tom, he was asking about your rehab. Great question, though. Thrilled to have you back. And the second part of his question, did music play a part in your rehab from your recent condition?
It did, yeah. Music plays a part in my rehab all the time, to be honest. When I'm on the road, when I'm feeling tired, and I think, God, we got 400 miles to go today to the next concert or something. Play some music and just drift downstream. Music is the greatest therapy of all. I'm absolutely certain about that. And even on the cruise, I'll listen to music all the while.
If you're not listening to the Moody Blues or playing the Moody Blues, what are you listening to? If you cannot listen to your own music, what would you be listening to so people can go put it on their playlist?
I just love music completely.
Oh, wonderful.
So it can be orchestral. It become Julio Iglesias.
Yeah, as you do.
Thinking I'm in the Caribbean.
Taking you back to El Riot.
Yeah, El Riot. But I think with Spotify and Pandora, I just find someone I like at that minute in time, and I'll say, I'll put that person on and let Pandora
songs
or Spotify put a collection of songs together.
Take that. Can you tell us who maybe one of the last few people you put in that you liked that allowed those radio stations to go out? And don't say John Lodge. Don't say you put in John Lodge.
No, I didn't. I didn't. The last person I put in, you're not going to believe this. My wife loves country music.
All right.
Right. I like original country music. So, which in England we called it skiffle.
Skiffle.
And it's a precursor to rock and roll.
Yes, sir.
And all songs like it was down in Louisiana, mile a mile from Texarkana, those songs. And the guy who did it in England was called Lonnie Donegan.
Yes.
And he had a song called Rock Island Line. And Lonnie was from Scotland. And he was a great friend, actually, Lonnie. And I recorded with him just before he died. Oh. And the album didn't come out for some reason, I don't know. But it was really great. The Cumberland Gap, all these songs originating probably in the 40s in America. And we had no idea where Cumberland Gap was. We thought it was part of England.
Yeah. Just up north.
Yeah,
just
up
up
north
the way.
somewhere.
Just up the way, yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Klein comes to us from Pennsylvania. Oh, here's a good one. Have you written a book about your experiences? If not, why? Get on it. No, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. She said, if not, any plans to do so, please, please, please. Mary from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm not a person that looks backwards. I'm always thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, or to do today, actually.
Today.
And so writing a book, you've got to delve into so much.
Sure.
And there's so much history. I'm going to write a book for my family, so they know. To my grandkids and all that, they can find out for themselves
who Granddad was.
What Dad was. Yeah. Granddad was.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
When we did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, someone said, what was special about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And I remember being on stage thinking, oh, what's fantastic is my grandson is going to walk into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one day and look over and say, Jeebus, that's my granddad up there. And I thought, that's special. That's special.
That is an amazingly wholesome answer, because I feel like most people are chasing that accolade, their whole lives. And not that you guys, obviously, everybody wants the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but to look on the wall or to be there in the moment and think to yourself what it means for your legacy in terms of your own family, not how you're going to be remembered, but how your grandson or your granddaughter, your grandkids, or even your great-grandkids, you're enshrined, you're enshrined in musical history, and that, well-deserved, I will add. And what a really cool thing to think in that moment. That has to be heartwarming for you too. That has to make you feel so warm for that.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It really
that's
was.
so sweet. That's so sweet. Gary comes to us from Jacksonville. Any chance for a tour with Justin any of these days?
The next question was...
Next question. The Lodge ladies from all over the world. John, would you so kindly look into the crowd and say hello to your Lodge ladies? Oh, straighten up, straighten up.
Stand up there, stand up there.
Where's our Lodge ladies?
Come on.
Come on, don't be shy. It's all right. Get on camera. You've been applauded by John Lodge. That's not the worst moment in the world. He wasn't serious, ma'am. It's all a joke. I have to cover with his wife, you understand, you Lodge ladies. Let's talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, your charity, your philanthropic. You have a wonderful charity in Barbados. Talk to us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, I went to Barbados first, a family trip in like 1981, and I fell in love with Barbados and the people.
It's lovely.
Really,
it's lovely.
And while I was there, there's a lot of children disabled and unfortunate, and And somebody approached me and said, John, could we do a charity? We found these little children who were really, really, unfortunately, not well developed.
Sure.
And I said, yes. And we started this charity 20 years ago in Barbados. And it's now called the Sandy Lane Charitable Trust. And we have a golf tournament every year with a gala night. And it's sold out every year.
Yes.
And we've, if I may say,
Please.
we've made $40 million in 20 years.
How wonderful is that? Over 20 years, too, that means you've seen many of these children grow up. You've seen these children benefit from this charity. That has to mean the world to you, to be able to actually see it firsthand.
Yeah, but because, you know, you see, just one little boy was in a car accident with his family, lost his family.
Oh my goodness!
And he was lying down on his gurney, you know, and he said to me, "Next year, John, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to sing with you." And he did. Actually, he did make it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was fantastic. Fantastic. And
Be honest, was that your best duet ever? Had to be the most touching duet ever, at least.
it was fantastic.
And when's the next golf tournament?
Next year.
Next year?
Next year, always third Friday in January.
Third Friday in January. If you happen to be in Barbados and you'd like to golf, third Friday in January, you want to contribute. And let's talk a little bit about the new music, Love Conquers All. You're an incredibly accomplished artist. On your bucket list, there can't be much left to do. So I'm going to ask this as politely as possible. Why in the hell are you still creating new music when a man of your caliber could rest on his laurels on everything he has done? What is the drive to still produce, create, and write more?
I enjoy it.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
Really is there's something very special about. We all can be creative.
Yes, sir.
We can. Everyone can be creative. Just think of something you don't know, and think about it for more than 3 minutes. And you'll think about something you haven't thought of before. And that's really what songwriting is about. You discover something which didn't exist before you discovered it. Sure. And it's an amazing feeling, you know. And so the new record, there's an instrumental on there which I wrote, and anybody was in England on my first solo tour. The guitarist was called Tim Maple, and Tim actually plays the guitar on this record, and he plays fantastically. And you know, in this crazy time, the sun will shine. That was really COVID and after COVID, and of course, Love Conquers All is about.
It's the message.
Yeah, the message, and in my life, it certainly does, and I'm sure everybody else, it does for them as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's incredibly well said. What type musically? What should people be looking for? How would you describe the music on the new album as compared to some of your older music?
I would hope you could, if you listen to the album on the vinyl, the sound is better than on CD.
Always.
But I would hope the whole album will transport you somewhere where it's really a nice place to be. And, you know, in the 60s, I think we were making albums exactly for that reason. You could be drift off. I think John Lennon said it. Go to sleep and drift downstream, you know. And that's what I hope you get off the album. A peaceful, lovely emotion that drains all your troubles away.
I mean, that's medicine. That's medicine. Yeah. That's medicine that can cure a lot of ails. I think a lot of us could use a moment sometimes to detach, you know, and we live in a 24-hour news cycle. We're inundated with, you know, I don't know that the world is better or worse, but at the point we're at, it's hard to not say it's impactful. We know what's going on in countries that we never knew things were going on in before. We know what's going on in cities around us that we didn't necessarily know before. I think the ability to detach and to float downstream, as you so aptly say, is something I think a lot of people could use, at least, you know, momentarily here and there, just a moment to catch your breath. Please, a moment to catch your breath and to breathe in the moment.
Yeah, I think especially today.
Yeah, amen.
You
amen.
know, everyone around the world should start playing music again. And I'm sure where people don't want to listen to music, that's the trouble.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, that's very true. I know we're going to get you around the corner. Before we do, I want to say thank you. I truly want to say thank you. I know that you had your health scare. You came back. You battled through. You did everything you needed to do to not only stay with us, which obviously is first and foremost, but not just stay with us, but come back to being the John Lodge that everyone knows, loves, expects, wants, you know, desires in so many ways. And that means the world to us as fans. It means the world, I know, to our rock and romance cruisers. So allow me on behalf of our audience, whether they're watching back in the rooms or here in the crowd, to say thank you so much for being here with us this week.
Thank you, Jason.
Truly.
Thank you very much.
Truly. Truly. My friends, please help me. The legendary John Lodge.